It's preparing now. All right. Miss Jules, I think we're live.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Awesome. I'll try to
Yes.
let people know
So
real fast.
thank you. Yeah. So I will talk to the crowd while we're here. Um, Hi, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties we're having tonight. If you're watching on the replay, you're probably going to miss some of this. Thank goodness. It's High Priestess Hype Club. I'm Mary. My lovely co-host Julie is here. She's letting folks know that we have moved over just to YouTube. Our streaming service just decided to continue to crash. And so technological issues happen. This is why we love the internet. We can connect, but also we we ended up having some technical issues. So
Yeah.
here we are, guys. So we're gonna just take a couple of minutes, like kind of, you know, get ourselves straightened out here, and I will chat and talk about a few things before we get into the meat of stuff. So it's really great to see everybody again tonight. It is July 8th. We have a full moon in Capricorn coming up. That's one of the biggest things we're going to talk about. We have some other things that are happening too. For example, Uranus and Gemini is going on. I can explain a little bit about that. And we have some cards. So we'll do that tonight too. So
Yay.
yeah. So again, I apologize for the craziness. But it's like it is live TV, really. It's live internet, live time on the
Live
interwebs.
internet.
Live internet.
There
We're
you go.
live here, y'all. We're just live. So
There you go.
um but it is wonderful to be here with all of you. And again, we're coming into full moon in Capricorn season, and we're halfway through Cancer Sun season. So all my friends out there who are cancers, like Julie's youngest is a Cancerian. My friends out there who
Yeah.
are cancers, I hope you're having a wonderful birthday month. um because it every month it goes from around the 20th, 21st, 22nd to the next month, 20th, 21st, 22nd. So and it falls in lines with the solstices and the equinoxes and things like that are out there. So yeah, so we're right now in the middle of Cancerian season. We're moving into Leo season on the 22nd of this month. Um, so lots going on, lots going on.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So Jules, how are you doing? What's happening with
I'm
you?
hanging in there. Just, a lot of dealing with life, a lot of dealing with
Yeah.
all the things happening in the world. So we're just doing our
Yes.
best.
Yeah. As
So,
as Mo Monet Exchange says, the famous drag queen, life be lifing.
yeah, there you
Life be
go.
life in. Oh my God. Yeah, so I'm glad you are here with us too, Jules. It's been crazy times, crazy times, and I think
Yeah.
we just keep going through crazy times, y'all. So if you're going through a crazy time, you're watching us on the replay or you're watching us, at home right now, we are with you and understand because life is just life. And so
Yes, it
um
is.
yeah,
We
so we
might
have that.
still be running live on your Facebook page, just FYI, with nobody there.
Oh, that's fun. Let me try to fix
Yay!
that. Right. So there's a ghost. Well, isn't
So
that
there's a
fun?
ghost.
There's a ghost. Well, let me
Just
fix that.
FYI.
Yeah. Well, I tried to stop it a couple of times and it was like, no. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
really, you need to stop. And it was like, no, I'm good. So, yeah, let me enter the studio and fix that.
And then I'll try to
So,
get on YouTube so we can
yeah,
see comments
what's going
because
on?
you never
Right.
know.
You never know. All right.
Oh,
I'm
and
going to get
there's
quiet
some
for a moment.
thunder.
So, ooh, thunder too. Look at this.
It's great. Isn't this the most exciting live you've ever seen? It's great. We're doing our best. Doing our best. All right, I think I've got most everybody there. This is just riveting.
It's well, I had to dance out the music. It had to end, so should be here now.
Oh,
All right.
yay.
Yay. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. It's like I always feel bad when this happens because it just it makes us look bad, but we're doing our
We're
best.
doing the best we
So
can.
we're doing the
Okay.
best
And
we
I don't
can.
see this
Yes.
actually streaming over here, but we will we'll do whatever. We'll do something.
On YouTube, if
Yeah.
you're on our channel. Okay. Um, I can see us, so we're okay there.
Okay, good.
I yeah, yeah, so that's life is life and guys. Life is life and and we have some folks watching, which is great. Okay,
Oh,
so
I
some
see it now.
people started
Great.
to find us. Yeah. Yeah. So now that we're here, 8:50.
Okay, hi friends.
Hi friends. Hi friends. Um couple of things, guys. If you want a card, we're going to be doing that a little later. And what else? We're going to talk a little bit about
Yes.
the full moon in Capricorn coming. So, um, full
So
moon in
here we
Capricorn,
are.
here we are.
Oh,
Full
go, go,
moon
go.
on Friday. No, 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 that's fine. I figured I jump in and start talking about the full moon a little bit.
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
moon in Capricorn, it's gonna be you're gonna see it this Friday, Thursday into Friday. So it's technically at 3:44 a.m. on Friday Eastern time. If you're up that early, I'm so sorry. Um, or if you're just going to bed, I hope it was a good night.
Right.
Because I've done that, I've rolled in, not rolled in, but I've gone to bed at 5 a.m. Like, I think I should probably stop working on whatever I'm working on
You
now and
should go to
just get
bed.
some sleep. I should go to
Right.
sleep. Yeah. Sometimes that quiet in the night is very good.
It's true.
But things, right? Um,
It's true.
I don't like getting woken up, but if I'm working on something, um, I will stay up most of the night. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so there's that. Um, but so if you want to take a look at the full moon, I would definitely get out there Thursday night. And it's full moon in Capricorn. So what does that mean? Why do I care about that? Well, part of the reason is because we are working on what we're leaving behind as a legacy. With Capricorns, Capricorn is not necessarily about your job, right? It's
Hmm.
about your career, your legacy, your destiny, the things that you want to be remembered for.
Yeah.
So to work with that energy, you want to be asking yourself if you're doing the things you're really doing, living the life you want to the way you live your life. Like, do you want to, are
Yeah.
you doing that? Can you change it? Of course. But what does that look like? So if you want to use that full moon energy to figure that out, this is a really great time to do it. Anytime 2 days before or 2 days after, which is why we decided to do the live tonight so that you had time if you wanted to do something to prepare.
There you go.
So yeah.
Look at us trying to think ahead. Go us. We're here for
Well,
you.
right, right. I mean, we want to give you the good information because I think, sometimes we'll say, oh, if you want to work with the full moon energy or new moon energy or
Right.
this, and people are like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
So my full moon stuff, because I love to write, I'm a big writer. I love notebooks. I have many, many, many different kind of notebooks that are blank, but I have many that are not.
But they're pretty.
They're pretty. And so I am going to, my plan is to sit down and to write out some things that I want to accomplish and what I want to leave behind, in this world.
Ooh.
So how do I want people to know me? What are the things I want to be known for? What are the things I want to do? Like, what are my plans, and to
Yeah.
look at it as I'm going to get rid of the things that are holding me back from doing that. Right. So,
Yeah.
say for example, like, one of the things you guys may know is, for my thesis project when I was in school, I did a project called the Traveling Soul Sanctuary. And, I want to get that really up and running and having services and things
Yeah.
like that. And that's one of the things I want to leave behind for everybody to kind of work with is, you find your own spiritual path through your own journeys but you have a supportive community. And so I have to figure out what I need to do in order to gather that community together and to do things. So if you are interested, guys, we're looking for folks to participate, be teachers, to learn, to grow. It's thetravelingsoulsanctuary.com if you want to take a look at that. I say that only just because, one, we need to pull community together, and two,
Yeah,
um, some folks don't know it's
definitely.
there. So yeah, yeah. So that's some of the Capricornian kind of energy. Like, what is my, when someone talks about me when I go, what do I want them to say?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean a big plan, right? It doesn't mean you have to create this big, like, you know, if you don't want to do a sanctuary, that's not what it necessarily means for you to do, but it means, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be talked about? What do you want to pass down to future generations? And I think an important thing to remember is, we look at our destiny as something that just is connected to the people we know, but we affect people all over every day, right?
Yeah.
That we don't know we are. So it's,
Yeah.
um I'll give you a quick example. Like, I was down, so I live in Boston, guys, and I'm near Revere Beach. If you know Revere at all, it's definitely a place I grew up. It's like this really fun place of all different kinds of people, really. I love it. So it's great to people watch. And I happened to be walking down there, and someone who worked for Revere City Hall happened to like walk by me. They were doing stuff on the beach, not City Hall, like City Works, Public Works. And he was like, "Hey, is your name Mary?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I worked with you like 20 some odd years ago. We worked at this
Oh,
telemarketing
wow.
company together." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's great." And I don't know what made me do it. I must have known. I said, "Was I nice to you?" And he said, because I was a manager at the time. I was director at some points. And so, it was, being an HR manager, being a director, you
Right.
don't always, it's not always good
Right.
news. It's not always like you're saying, "Hey, this is great." So I said, "Well, let me apologize because I didn't mean to not be nice to you. I don't know what happened. I don't remember." Wouldn't tell me his name, but he said, I recognize you from your smile." And I was like, "Ooh." Um, but I stopped for a second. I was like, so I wonder what I left behind that he recognized me and stopped me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, when you're a manager, you're not always delivering good news, but who knows? I don't know what happened there.
True. True.
But it made me pause and say, like, what? So I left this with somebody, and like I said, we had worked together. Yeah, it was about 25 years ago when I think back the dates. So, yeah, 98, 2000, somewhere in there. So, and I did. I'm like, "I'm sorry," and he's like, "No, no, no, it worked out for the better for me anyway. I've been working here, for Public Works for years, and it's great." And I'm like, "Okay, but
Yeah.
you never know how you leave someone when you
Yeah.
leave them."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So those are things you can think about, guys. The other thing I'll just mention, because our next live will probably not be, yeah, it's not going to be in a week or so, but we're going into Mercury retrograde. Mercury
Got a taste of that tonight.
retrograde. Yeah, didn't we? And we're in the shadow period, so it's like, okay. But yeah, so that's the thing you got to remember is we're coming into Mercury retrograde. That means that X's could show up again. Communication can get mixed up. You guys have heard me talk about this and preach about this, but I will do it again. Um, Back up all your stuff. If you have photos, if you have emails, you have documents, back them up. Make sure that your computer and is backed up. You might have internet intermittent issues. You might have, if you have any big projects that are going on that you have to rely on technology, you
Right.
want to check everything beforehand. You want to make sure you get there early. You just need to be prepared for the unexpected, especially
Yeah.
around with Mercury. Mercury's technology, it's travel, it's commerce, it's shopping, it's your car, it's all those things, miscommunications, phone texts not going through. So if something's really important, double check on it, right? And
Yeah.
one thing we always say, do not, if you can help it, sign a contract during Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
If you have to, you have to, right? We got to
Right. Live your
live,
life. Right.
but read it more than you usually would. You know what I mean? Read it
Yeah.
twice. If you'd read it once, read it twice. If you read it twice, read it three times. Make sure you understand, ask a lot of questions, know what you're getting into, if you're making a commitment under Mercury retrograde. So like, I'm sure some folks have weddings planned. I'm sure folks have car purchases, loans going through, things like that. You just want to make sure you ask as many questions as you can just to
Yeah.
mitigate any funky circumstances. Um, and things will come back around. Things do come back around. Um, One thing I've noticed also, we're talking a lot of astrology tonight, Jules, you know,
It's an astrology night. It's all
it's
good.
it's all good. Uranus and Gemini, if you guys didn't see, there's a blog out there on it. There's a bunch of blogs out there on it. I have one on my website, mirrodalba.com. And it
I'll read
talks
that
about,
one.
well, thank you. But it has a bunch of information about what we're going to expect. This is a long transit. So what that means is it's more of the outer planets, which means it's more of the generational planets. So if you think about, I'm in Gen X. So, that's about a 15-year transit. If you want to say, well, some of the planets take long transits too. Uranus takes 7 years to move through a sign. So what that means is the influence of Gemini on that planet is going to stick around for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Uranus is the planet of technology, invention, rebellion. Our
Yeah.
our folks that are ruled by Uranus, which is Aquarius. Definitely, if you know an Aquarius in your life, they definitely think differently. They think globally. Um, and so if they're being influenced by Gemini, Gemini is saying, well, let's get some information. Let's change how the way we communicate.
Right.
Let's look at new structures because Uranus likes to break structures to make them better. So, for example, I was saying to Jules before we came on here that what was it? Homeland Security, it was TSA, said that
Oh,
they're not
yeah.
going to have people search, they're not going to have people taking their shoes off anymore because technology has changed over the
Hmm.
past 20 years. I didn't realize that went through 20 years ago. I like time passes so fast.
Yeah.
Um, but now they're saying we're changing the technology, we're changing the structure of how we do things.
Yeah.
And from what I read in the article was they're going to look at other things to change.
Mm.
So, they might look at other structures, but what's the right word I'm looking for? Policies or,
Processes kind of stuff.
processes. Thank you. Yeah, my old brain.
You're
Um,
fine.
but processes are definitely getting switched up and moved up and changed up. So
Yeah.
expect that over the next several years. Um, we're going to see new inventions. AI is taking the world by storm, it seems like.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I don't know if y'all are using AI for things, but I find if I need a schedule made, like for example, so some of you may know I'm in school. And so I had it write out I'm in an accelerated class right now for 6 weeks. I had it write out for 6 weeks what I needed to do in order to make sure I get all my assignments in on time.
Yeah. Nice.
You know what I mean? So it saved me some time because usually I'd go through my calendar. I'd be like, I need to do this here. I need to do this here. Now I was like, show it to me, Chat GPT. And it gave me a schedule. Now I double checked it because it's not always right, but
It
it's
was
going to help me
helpful, and
stay on
that's good,
track.
especially
Yeah.
when you've got so much going on in your life. So that's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's systems, it's structures, just even in your own personal life.
Yeah.
If there's something you want to figure out how to implement, you can use some AI tools or just how you want to communicate about it. You can hire a mentor, you can work with a friend, you can, do a trade. Like there's all kinds of ways to change the system and the structures. So
Yeah.
be ready for that. Everything's not going to be the same as it was,
Right.
how we usually do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing for the moon, Jules, new moon, full moon? Are you doing anything?
I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, we're lucky I don't miss them. So probably go outside, except it's crazy hot. So I don't know. I usually do some kind of little basic thing, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. We'll see
Nothing
what
wrong with
happens
that.
this weekend.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
elaborate, guys. Don't always have to have
N-
the cloak on and all that stuff.
nope.
Sometimes we're just at our house with some water outside
Mm-hmm.
doing our thing.
Yep. Talking the moon.
Right, right.
I I can say I've sat outside and talked to the moon before, like, listen, I mean,
Hey,
I know
girl.
you're the moon. Hey girl. things are kind of, so
Right.
yeah, yeah. So she listens, and she reacts. But she's got to talk to her, got to get out there and interact with nature and what it has to offer to us. So not
Yeah.
to get wooey, but I like a little woo in my
We're
life.
wooey.
We're wooey. So we are.
We're wooey.
So yeah. So that's I think a good thing to do. So yeah, just think
Yeah.
if you at a basic level, if you want, just go out, sit with the moon, grab a notebook, your phone. I know a lot of people like to speak in their phones now. I'm a paper and pen and touching it kind of girl, like I said,
Notebooks.
and notebooks galore. So, but however you need to communicate, um, write it down.
Yeah.
Make it a tangible thing. Because if you just think it, that's one process, but speaking it is another process, and writing it is another process as far as magic.
Right. Yeah.
There's right. So,
Yeah.
the more you incorporate it in different things, like, it can layer on, and that's kind of a nice thing to, well, I'm going to write it, I'm going to say it, I'm going to sit with the moon, I'm going to light a candle, like you said, have some water.
Right.
Um,
Different
you know,
intentions,
yeah.
different actions
Now,
been different. Yeah.
do you make moon water, Jules? I haven't. I'm
I do
embarrassed to say
on
I haven't done it in a while,
occasion.
but
I
yeah.
mean, I do on occasion. It depends on if I'm feeling it, right? Like I've gotten to where
Hmm.
honestly, I'm more collecting like crazy storm water and instead of just like making
Mm,
moon water.
yeah.
But there's science around like talking to your water too, like what you say
Hmm.
influences like the molecules and everything. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's kind of fun. I make baths with moon water. So
Mm,
that's, you know, charge it that way and then add the herbs and almost steep it like a tea. And then you can use it in your
ooh.
bath. So that's kind of cool. Um, I go through phases of it. I think that's okay. It's whatever works with your
Mm,
practice at the time, right? I
hmm.
know a lot of
Yeah.
people who like make it and cook with it. I saw a girl who puts it in like her like diffusers in her house.
Oh,
Um, right. So I thought that was
yeah.
interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
So I have a question, Jules, like for all of us out there who have tried to do
uh-oh.
a bath and made our bathtubs very dirty with herbs. What is the
Yes.
way that you have done a bath without
Oh,
trashing your
so
tub?
I put so there's two ways, okay? Like
Hmm.
the first way is I brew it like a tea. If I only have loose, you can brew it like you're brewing a cup of tea and then
Oh.
strain that into
Hmm.
another container and then dump it in there, right? The other
Oh.
way is you can get like muslin bags, like basically empty
Mm,
tea bags, put the herbs
yeah.
in there, and then I run it right under the spigot with the hot water
Nice.
goes through it like you're steeping it that way.
Oh.
So, but you got to put it in something. Or I guess technically you could probably get something like one of those like tub shrooms that would catch it all, but like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
but still now we're getting dicey. Like when you pull it out, if it comes out the wrong way, is it gonna
And
gunk
I've
your
done it.
stuff up?
Done it.
Oh, we all have.
Done it.
But I
Right.
like those little muslin bags that you can like fill up
Hmm.
and you just tie them tight and then you've basically made a tea bag.
Yeah.
So, because that's all
I
a
like that.
herbal bath is tea, but in a big tub. So, but if
Yeah.
you're worried about it, brew it like you brew a cup of tea and then use like,
Hmm.
a strainer in your kitchen. Yep,
Yeah. That's a great
that
way.
works really well. And if you
Yeah.
don't have a tub, I've put that into like almost like a bucket, like a big thing, and then you just pour it over yourself to let
Hmm.
it run down. Because some
Yeah.
people don't have tubs.
Right. They just have the
So,
shower.
right.
Always check the temperature before you dump it over your head, y'all.
Oh, yeah. If you're gonna, yeah, don't put
Can't
something crazy hot on yourself or very cold. But yeah,
both. If a witch has made
that's
a
why
mistake, if there's a mistake a witch can made, done it.
that's why I like to honestly, that's why I like to steep mine almost like how people do sun tea or like a cold brew, where I put it
Mm.
just in the regular temp water for a long time. So I don't
Ooh,
accidentally like scald the shit out of
it's
myself.
called it.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
but yes, that is definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah,
I set my
because
hair on fire. We've all done stuff,
done the
you know.
same. Done the same. I've done the same. Yeah. I think
We've
I,
all
I
done
think if
stuff.
you Haven't almost set your bell sleeve on fire or your hair on fire or something you don't want to go on fire, then what have you done really, you know?
Right.
Um,
What kind of witch life are we living?
right.
Right.
But if even if you just want to do something for yourself where it's like a, you know, these are stuff you have in your cabinet, right? Like you have your basils in your cabinet, you have your bay leaves, you have your
Oh yeah.
rosemary, you have thymes. Like if you're a cook, so these are things you can throw into a muslin bag, you know, depending on the little recipe you want to make. Cinnamon's great for spicing things up or bringing money in. You know, there's the stuff that's in your kitchen can be used to create some kind of manifestation or magic, depending on what you want to refer it to. So you don't have to
Yep.
go out and get, listen, you want to take a trip to a herbal store? Definitely. But if you have the stuff in your cabinet and you're trying to be a,
Just
you
use
know, a
that.
thrifty witch, just use that stuff, really.
Yep. And also make sure that if you're putting it in a bath, it's not too spicy or irritating to your skin. So you
Hmm.
could always instead cook with something spicy if you want to bring like a heat kind of element in.
Ooh. Hmm.
So you can cook with it instead or hot teas or something like that. But
Yeah.
don't don't give yourself a skin thing either. So
Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt
and you can
yourself.
look it up quickly online. So it'll be
Yep.
okay. Or you can ask us. But yep.
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you could just email us at highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com and we can help.
See, there you go.
Hmm.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about tonight, as far as astrology. I would say, guys, that like there's some shifting and changing happening, right? We're definitely seeing that in the world every day.
Yeah.
I I'll never forget once on Saturday Night Live years ago, it was Cecily Strong, and she said, I would like one day to not have breaking news break into my breaking news. Like it's just, it's a constant
It's a lot.
breaking news, breaking news. It's a lot.
It's a
So,
lot.
um, take care of yourselves during these times, guys, because I think we can get overloaded. We can get sad. I mean, just honestly, we can get, you know, deeply thoughtful about where the world is going. But you have a hand in that and making changes just even in your own space, in your own community, and with your
Yep.
own tribe and community as they go out into the world. So, you know, if you're feeling like the world is scary right now, and I'll be honest, it is. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of uncertainty, but you have a chance to make an impact wherever you are, with however you're supposed to in your heart and whatever makes you happy. And, you know, we're all here
Yeah.
for a purpose. So you're not, you are supposed to be here and you are valuable. So just remember that it's not like, what am I here for? You're here for a purpose, because if not, you wouldn't be here.
There you go.
I always, well, I mean, I always say, you know, the bony lady, my Santa Muerte, has not snatched me. So she's keeping me here for some reason, if not many. And also that's the same for everybody, because when your time is up, she's at your shoulder going, come on. So
Yeah.
you still here, you're still here. So there's
Yeah.
things to do for your
Yeah.
family, for yourself, for others. So yeah. Um, so since we're doing this live sort of off
Well, it's
kilter,
kind of wonky. Yeah. I was gonna say, do we want to
yeah,
do like a community reading instead, like a collective reading tonight? Are you up for that?
yeah, that's what I
As
think.
I
Yeah.
volunteer it, but it's you're the one doing it.
No, I would agree. So we'll do one for the collective, guys. On our next live, we'll make sure that all this the see, I didn't do a good job of going in and checking on it beforehand.
You had it set up right. It was technical
I thought so.
difficulties. Be kind to yourself.
Yes. All right. All right. But we'll make sure we get readings to you guys the next time. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for sticking with us this long. We appreciate you. Um, and yeah, so
Yeah.
let's see for the collective for what we all need to know, you know, for the next couple of weeks to month. And remember, we
There you
got that
go.
full moon on Thursday. So people are gonna be, you know, full moons make people a little cray. So
People who work in
um
hospitals know this.
law enforcement too, they get crazy. Hospitals, ambulances, law enforcement,
Yeah.
fire,
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Anybody who's a first responder usually feels this
Right. Right.
pretty heavily. So take care of yourself and whatever you all are doing if you're feeling it. You know, our Capricorns are gonna feel it. Folks who have a Capricorn moon are definitely gonna feel it. So, and every sign is going to be impacted by it somehow, but those two, like we have some Capricorn friends. I'm thinking of our darling
Yeah.
girl there. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's Capricorn, and you might have a Capricorn moon if you have your chart read, or you pulled your chart. So you might be feeling it a little bit more. Just be real gentle on yourself during that time. So,
Yeah.
all right. So for the collective, we've got the High Priestess upright. So that's a major arcana card. We've got the Two of Cups reversed. We've got the Ten of Cups upright. We've got the King of Pentacles reversed. And we've got the Eight of Swords reversed. So when I look at these cards, I think for everybody, the first card always kind of gives me a overall for a reading I'm doing. I usually take into account that a little bit heavier than every other card. And when I look at the High Priestess, I always see her as somebody that knows what she's doing, knows who she is, knows what her knowledge is. Like, so she knows what she's got to bring to the table. And I feel like that's something that everybody that, is watching should know, that you already have all the knowledge. You know what you're doing. You're an expert when you're where you're an expert, and not to let somebody, including yourself, knock you off that. So you know what's right. You know and especially the high priestess is very much a very high moral, high standard kind of person in this card. I always look at her as like the woman in charge that looks at you, or the person in charge that looks at you like, is that all you got? Because you're gonna waste my time. I don't want to hear it. That's what you're dealing with these next couple of months. So because the Capricorn energy also, not that they're folks that are Capricorns aren't emotional, but give me the facts first. Like I don't want the emotions first. Let's figure out what the problem is, and then we can fall apart, kind of thing. So that's what your focus is this month is what do I need to finish out first? What is right or wrong? Am I going to fall which side? Again, we talked about legacy at the beginning of this. So what is your legacy? Um, like I said, the person at work, I worked with them 25 years ago and I left something behind there. It's the same thing. Like, so what do you want to leave it behind? Again, wherever, work, whoever. So that is really important this month, to trust what you know, and to also um, present yourself in the world as that. Okay. So even fake it till you make it if you got to. Two of Cups and Ten
Okay.
of Cups here. I'm really feels like to me, it's like I have this dream, but I don't know how to connect with others to get that dream, or maybe connect to that aspect of myself with the Two of Cups, right? Two of Cups is usually a couple or a partnership, but it could also be a partnership with yourself. And I feel like whatever that thing is that seems to be getting in the way, whether it's a person, or perception of a person, whether it's, like I said, there's an aspect of yourself, whatever that is, I think that has to be looked at. Is it a misunderstanding? Do we need to get on the same page? Do I need to step back? Do I need to really look at or admit something to myself? Okay. So that's going to require a little bit of work this month. And I think with Mercury retrograde coming in, if you don't know what it is, it's going to push at you after July 18th. With the Ten of Cups, it is that dream. Can I get that dream? Yeah, the dream is there. It's the middle card here. I dealt 5 cards. It's the middle card. To me, that's the Pentacle. So yes, you can get the dream. You can get the things you want. But there's some things that have to be worked out first. So, how you're perceiving yourself, how you're perceiving other people, the aspect of yourself, right? So this is, to me, the cards are basically saying, like, it's out there. It's on the field. You just have to go get it. So King of Pentacles reversed and the Eight of Swords reversed. Um, I want to say this the right way.
Give it to a
You don't want to have,
Sagittarius.
yeah, right. You don't want to have someone else having control over what you want. Now, granted, say, for example, you say to me, well, okay, Mary, but I work a job and I'm not the boss. Okay. Well, it, is your boss the person you want to have as your boss? Is this the job you should be in? Is it a means to an end? Is that really going to get you to the end that you want? Right. I understand that we are all in places where I like to have a roof over my head and to eat. Those are very important to me. So I'm not saying up and quit your job necessarily, but also, is there a perceived control over you? And what do we do to change that? Like I've had people say to me, like, I don't want to be in the situation anymore. I'm like, all right, well, you can just leave it, right? And they're like, well, yeah, and I'm like, right, you can't just leave it, but there's got to be some kind of plan. Even with the pentacles here, it's a practicality. So if I don't like where I am because someone else has their hands in my destiny, what am I doing to fix that or change that? So that doesn't mean you necessarily have to leave. It just means maybe there needs to be some boundaries and understanding of what you're going to do from here on out, right? If you're working 80 hours a week and you feel like you're not getting the recognition, maybe you need to say something. And that leads me into the Eight of Swords being reversed. So, we have the woman that's all tied up. She's bound. She's got the swords around her, but then her mouth, I always say her mouth's open. So she has her eyes blindfolded. She's tied up, but her mouth is open, right? And she could walk off, but she can't really see right now. So the best thing to do is to open your mouth. And I think with it being reversed, there can be some nervousness around that. I would say either A, I know this might sound weird, but practice. So practice having the conversation, run it through your mind, run it out of your mouth, whatever you got to do. Or maybe there's somebody else you got to ask. You know what I mean? Or you may be assuming someone's going to say no to something where they might say yes. So it's your own perceptions that might be getting in the way here. And you need to open your mouth because you need to get more information or you need to express information. So it can create this thing where you have to be a bit brave. And but we all can do that. So be clear on what you're trying to achieve, whether it's, like I said, small situation, big situation, but think it through. I think what the big message here is that things are attainable if you think it through first. Because if you're not there, what changes do you have to make to get there? The other thing I'll just mention is that sometimes you can't figure it out in your own mind. So, if you reach out for help, you talk to a friend, you talk to a therapist, you talk to a doctor, you talk to, a mentor, whoever it is, you might need a different perspective, because sometimes when someone says to you, well, wait, does it need to be that way? Or wait, could you do it this way? It's like, "Ah," you know? Um, so we don't live on our own ship.
Yeah.
We need people to sometimes steer us right. And we go to the people that maybe has a little more experience or maybe is, a little more versed in what we're trying to accomplish because they can tell you the good, bad, and ugly. So
Yeah.
open thy mouth, and speak. So yeah. And then overall, I have the Chariot reversed. To me, that's just saying it's there. We just need to dig it out, or we need to just give it the time to get there. So victory is in your hands. It's just not ready to be realized yet. Okay. And you know me, guys, like I would tell you the truth, like, oh, this is not good. Or this is, you know what I mean? Like, oh, but this is good. It's just more of like right now, taking this next month to what do I want? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want people to think of, think about me? Not that we think about like, well, gee, if somebody's um thinks I'm terrible, they're right. That's not necessarily true, but not at all. For some
Yeah.
people, sure, but for most people, no.
Right.
But what do I want to leave behind and what do I want to do to make my life feel like I've accomplished things? Um, my dad used to say that it's a good life until you get tired, right? So you
Yeah.
just can't get tired. Can't get tired, you know? It's not, we got to keep going, guys. So sorry, I'm very much like we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay, but we're gonna be okay. We are.
Yeah.
So, people love you out there. They do. Sometimes people aren't good at saying it or showing it, but they do. And just remember that there's people out there who love you and want to support you. So yeah.
There you
So
go.
thank you, Jules. Thanks. Do you want to let folks know how they can find us?
Well, you can email us at highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com. You can find us on our website at hypeclub.live, on our socials at High Priestess Hype Club. You can find Mary at marydowell.com, and you can find me at julieatkinson.com. So
Yes,
there you
that's
go. I
perfect.
think that's
There you
everything.
go. Yeah. So guys, we'll be on next month. We'll do another live. We'll have our technology figured out, we will read cards and it'll be fun. If you guys need us in the meantime, you know how to find us,
Reach
and
out.
reach out because we want to be there to support you and be part of the community with you. So, all right, guys. I hope you have a great month. Enjoy that full moon, and remember, you are magic. Thanks, guys. Now let's see if
Bye.
I can do this where I can stop the live stream.
You got it. You got it.
Here we go.
I believe in
Bye,
you.
guys.